All honours with Matt Kelley and Getty. I must say I've questioned his will to try hard at times, but he couldn't have tried any harder than that then.
Yeah, it was. He done a good job. It was a bit of a risk from my end. He raced 2 days ago at Albury and he failed there. So, look, I said to the owners post-race after that was probably trainer error. He drew wide. He was wide the trip and he done it very tough on a wet track. So I said if we draw good here 2 days later, if he does everything right at home, we'll back him up. And as soon as he drew barrier one, I was pretty convinced it was the right move. Down in the weights, poly track, so I think it was the right move.
Yeah, well, it certainly was his one, wasn't it? But you quite like backing horses up and that quick back up. But it's easy to say in hindsight, but probably the perfect horse for it because he can do a fair bit wrong, but that probably takes the edge off him a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I didn't really hesitate because he is over the top and he does a lot wrong. And I thought as long as he pulled up well enough, even if he come here a little bit dour, I thought it was only going to play into our hands a little bit more than bringing him to the races over the top because when he is over the top, he does more wrong than right, and it generally gets him beat.
Yeah, and that was a pretty good field he beat then. So where do you go from here?
Well, I've said to the owners from the start, this preparation he'll be an open company horse, and that's an open company field. So, look, we'll probably get penalised a bit in the benchmarks because we'll blow the benchmark system in that, but that's fair enough if we've copped 20,000 to the winner there, so we can cop a few more points.
That's exactly right. Well done.
Thank you.
Certainly ended up a very smart training move. As I said, went around and did nothing. The big trip up to Albury, had a tough run, wide off the speed on what I said was a bit of a trying track. I know it was only a soft 7, but by that stage of the day it was cut up and pretty wet, and he's obviously come through that very well. He bounced to the front and he never really looked in doubt. Well, he did halfway down the straight when Take the Rap headed him, but he's really dug deep to be able to win by 3/4 of a length by a neck in the end. They've ran a minute 10.71, the last 635.41. And as I said, Coriah gets a winning treble for the day. So she's really had a day out. I'm not sure whether she has a soft spot for this horse because he probably tests your patience at times.
Yeah, look, I got to admit, there is a little soft spot for there, but he is extremely difficult, so very rewarding win.
I was just saying to Matt, I've always questioned from watching him his real will to dig deep, but he had to dig deep then.
Yeah, look, I actually came back at the start of this prep and I said to Matt, wow, like he's been really genuine. He's actually given it his everything, which has always been the question mark with him. So I knew he was going to go on to do good things this preparation, but on the 48-hour backup in a field like this, wasn't sure he was quite going to put that display on, but he really showed us his ability.
His pre-race manners have always been a problem in the past too, but he looks like he's even settling down there.
Yeah, he's getting better. Today was a few question marks going on to the poly track. He sort of had it figured out pretty quickly, but effort to everyone getting him in the gates and getting him jumping clean.
Winning treble. Have you ridden many trebles or any trebles?
I've ridden one maybe like a year and a half ago, so it's nice to get another one.
Well done.
Thank you.